Imagine getting to be smack dab in the middle of some of the most iconic movies in cinematic history. You could see firsthand the machete used by Indiana Jones, Dorothy's ruby red slippers, or the carousel horse ridden by Mary Poppins. The Great Movie Ride whisked guests through scenes from legendary films, bringing the magic of movie making to life. Join us as we discuss the fascinating history of this legendary ride, the unforgettable moments it created for movie fans, and why it eventually had to ride off into the sunset. The Great Movie Ride debuted on May 1st, 1989, a time when Hollywood Studios was actually known as Disney's MGM Studios. The attraction was housed within a replica of the iconic Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood. However, due to being refused permission to use the name Grauman, the Walt Disney Company named the building simply the Chinese Theater. The Disney version paid homage to the original in that there are hands and footprints of famous actors lining the entrance to the theater. Dozens of cement blocks display these signatures, including Tom Cruise, John Travolta, and even Donald Duck and Roger Rabbit. Initially, Disney intended for the Great Movie Ride to be a cinema-themed pavilion for the future world area of Epcot. However, the then-appointed CEO of Disney, Michael Eisner, and WDI president Marty Sklar thought that the concept was strong enough to anchor a whole new theme park. In fact, when Disney MGM Studios first opened on May 1st, 1989, it only had two attractions: the Great Movie Ride and the Studio Backlot Tour. The concept for the ride was expanded, and the development of Disney MGM Studios officially began. This new theme park was designed to evoke the golden age of Hollywood, including the 1920s and 1930s, and what better way than with a new attraction showcasing audio animatronic replicas of both living and deceased actors. Thanks for joining us today. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment if you remember this ride. It costs nothing to subscribe, and it's a huge help to our channel. The Ride Experience. As for the experience, the Great Movie Ride was a 22-minute themed ride taking guests through the history of motion pictures, featuring scenes from famous Hollywood films such as The Wizard of Oz, Casablanca, Singin' in the Rain, Alien, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and others. The attraction's queue area showcased actual costumes and props from iconic films. Upon boarding the ride vehicles, which looked like traditional movie theater cars, guests took a guided tour through various scenes depicting iconic films from different genres. Each scene came to life through audio animatronics, special effects, and intricate sets, creating an immersive experience for the visitors. It highlighted memorable moments and characters from these classic films, appealing to both movie enthusiasts and casual visitors. The ride's story emphasized the art of storytelling and the enduring charm of the silver screen. At the start of the ride, the guide on the vehicle greeted the guests and let them know that they would be traveling through scenes from various classic films. The first type of films presented were musicals. This section began with a group of audio animatronic chorus girls in a pyramid, depicting a scene from Busby Berkeley's Footlight Parade. Following this, there were musical scenes featuring audio animatronics of Gene Kelly swinging from a lamppost and singing in the rain, and Mary Poppins and Bert singing Chim Chimaree on the rooftops of London in Mary Poppins. The next scene paid homage to gangster films. The ride vehicle passed through the dim alleyways of 1930s Chicago and passed an audio animatronic James Cagney, wearing the actor's own suit in a scene from The Public Enemy. Here, a live gangster got involved in a shootout with rival mobsters in a car opposite to where the ride vehicle was stopped. The live gangster chased away the tour guide and hijacked the ride vehicle, using it to make their getaway. The following segment paid homage to Western films. During this part, visitors came across lifelike animatronic renditions of Clint Eastwood by a saloon and John Wayne seated on his horse. The John Wayne animatronic once wore the actor's real belt buckle. However, it was stolen and never returned. In this Western scene, guests being driven by the gangster witnessed a shootout between the town sheriff and an audio animatronic bank robber named Snake. If the ride vehicle hadn't already been hijacked, here was another opportunity. The ride vehicle stopped here while the robbery was in progress, and a live bank robber appeared from inside the bank. After getting into a shootout with the town sheriff and chasing the tour guide away, the robber blew up the bank with dynamite and hijacked the ride vehicle. Following the scene, the remainder of the attraction was the same for both sets of ride vehicles. The ride vehicle proceeded into a spacecraft, and a voice announced that it was Nostromo, the ship from the movie Alien. The vehicle sped through a terrifying scene where the alien popped out from the ceiling and the wall, eager to attack guests. An audio-animatronic Sigourney Weaver saved the day with a flamethrower. Then the ride moved into a scene in an ancient Egyptian temple filled with snakes. A narrator mentions that it's a scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark featuring Indiana Jones and Sala struggling to lift the Ark of the Covenant. When the ride hijacker was tempted by a large jewel, he ignored the warning and turned into a skeleton. Thankfully, the original tour guide was in disguise in the temple and able to resume the ride. The next genre introduced was horror, as the ride passed through an ancient burial chamber with mummies coming to life. The ride then entered a jungle featuring a scene from Tarzan the Ape Man. Following this, there was the final scene from Casablanca. While this plane wasn't the actual one from the movie, the back half was cut off and is now being used in the Jungle Cruise ride at Magic Kingdom. Next, there was a film projection of Mickey Mouse as the Sorcerer's Apprentice from the classic Disney animated film Fantasia. The ride then entered the Munchkin Land scene from The Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy's house had landed on top of the Wicked Witch of the East. Finally, both sets of vehicles entered a large, dark theater and came to a stop in front of a large film screen. A fast-paced 3-minute film montage of classic film moments was shown, and then both sets of vehicles exited the theater. After guests applauded the tour guide, they lined up single file again and returned to the 1930 soundstage, where the ride concluded and exited the attraction. One notable feature of the Great Movie Ride was that it did not have separate areas for getting on and off like many other Disney dark rides. Instead, there was only one area for both loading and unloading. When people finished the ride, they'd often pass by the next group of guests waiting to get on. In the 1980s, when the ride was created, it was common for major rides to let people out into a store selling items related to the ride. But the Great Movie Ride did not do this. Instead, guests could leave the ride and go directly back outside into the park. The end of the Great Movie Ride. Unfortunately, the Great Movie Ride ceased operations on August 13, 2017, after nearly 30 years of service. It was succeeded by a new attraction, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which was unveiled in March 2020. The Great Movie Ride had been operational since the park's inauguration in 1989, and despite a few minor updates, it remained largely unchanged over the years. The closure of the Great Movie Ride and the introduction of a Mickey-themed ride can be attributed to several factors. To begin with, Disney did not own the rights to most of the movies featured in the attraction. Instead, they had to lease the rights, and when the attraction closed, their contract came to an end. Consequently, Disney had to consider the value of renewing the contract and their vision for the future of Hollywood studios. A significant factor in this decision was that the attraction centered around classic movies, many of which dated back to the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. Given that today's younger generation was largely unfamiliar with these films, Disney had to reevaluate the appeal and relevance of the ride. Disney is constantly striving to maintain a fresh and thrilling experience for its visitors, hence the decision to make way for something new. Disney's always seeking to push the envelope when it comes to ride technology. While the Great Movie Ride had some impressive animatronics, it couldn't rival the interactivity and immersion of newer attractions. Disney aimed to introduce something more innovative. The removal of the Great Movie Ride left many devoted fans asking why, and it felt like a significant loss for the studios. Additionally, integrating a new ride into an existing structure posed challenges, and replicating the Chinese theater for the railway ride proved to be quite a task. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway took the place of the Great Movie Ride, which was the only original attraction remaining from then MGM Studios' opening day. The complete show building was cleared out, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway started from scratch. It utilizes a brand new ride system and completely different show scenes. The majority of the queue area, however, remains unchanged from the Great Movie Ride, but it has been redecorated with a Mickey Mouse theme. The attraction showcases an original tale inspired by the Disney Channel animated series Mickey Mouse, marking it as the first Mickey and Friends themed ride-through attraction to debut in Disney parks. Construction of the new ride began on August 13, 2017, and the ride was initially intended to open in 2019 as part of the park's 30th anniversary festivities. but its opening was eventually postponed to March 4th, 2020. Ever since then, the Mickey and Minnie ride has become one of the more popular rides in the park, creating new memories with fans of all ages. The new ride contains subtle nods to the previous attraction. The scene of Runaway Railway with Mickey and Minnie being caught in a tornado is a Wizard of Oz reference. As you leave Daisy's dance studio and Runaway Railway, look to the left-hand dumpster and you'll see a trash can which violently shakes, making an angry cat sound. While mostly a stock sound used in several productions, this is the same sound heard in the Great Movie Ride's hijacked scene with the gangsters. In the Carnival Fair scene, between Clarabelle's popcorn and Donald's hot dog stand is a fake attraction poster that says The Great Moving Ride, showing an escalator with a group of excited guests going down it. The iconic Great Movie Ride had left an unforgettable mark on the world of cinema and theme park attractions. Its fascinating journey through the magic of movie making has captivated audiences for decades, and its legacy will continue to inspire future generations of storytellers and film enthusiasts. Even though the ride has now been transformed into Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, it remains in the hearts of countless fans. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to give us a big thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. We will see you next time.